Hey, what's up you all? A new patch has just been announced, so I just want to talk about it real quick, and I will show you also the small changes in effect, in action. So yeah, some of the changes are actually very interesting to me. The first one is the Colossus damage input, which has changed. So basically it's going to be a bit different. So the Colossus has been buffed. Overall, it's going to deal more damage against non-light units. So basically against Marauders, especially in Roaches, the Colossus is going to be much better. I will show you after as a bit of a test to see what it looks like. Yeah, I thought at first it was going to be worse against light, but now it's actually exactly the same as a total. The Adept damage modifier per attack upgrade increased from +1 to basically +2. This is a bigger change than you probably think. I've tested it also, you will see afterwards. You see the Adepts actually packs a punch now. The Gateway Unit Train reduction bonus from researching Warp Gate increased from 40 to 50%. It's actually quite a big deal now. A Zealot was supposed to take 16 seconds to be built. It went from 16 to 14. The Sentry only takes 12 seconds to get built. So now you can actually produce units pretty rapidly from the gates, even faster than before. So I think we're going to see even more non-Warp Gate play, especially in the early stages of the games. We'll see. So Gateway Warp Gate transformation duration is now always 4 seconds. So the time it takes to have your Gateway turn into a Warp Gate and vice versa. So it's 4 seconds, pretty fast. So, I mean, probably not the biggest change. Disruptor Phantom weapon range decreased. Well, I mean, I don't really care about that. It's maybe just a quality of life change regarding the Phantom attack, because I mean, disruptors sometimes from a distance could have a weird behavior where they would shoot their disruptions and you didn't really know which one it was. I mean, it was a bit of a weird behavior, so I guess it's gonna probably make things easier. This one is also a big one. Command center cost reduced from 400 to 300 minerals. I will show you afterwards the difference that it makes when you open with a normal Reaper Expand build that is very common as Terran, and you will see it makes quite a bit of a difference also. To compensate, the Planetary Fortress cost got increased, 100 extra minerals. Basically, the other minerals that was usually spent on a command center is going to be added to the PF, which is pretty insignificant in the later stages of the game, because I mean, by the point you get a PF, you're usually on. This is usually your fourth base, unless you're euthermal and then it's your natural, or your offensive building. But aside from that, it's not going to be the biggest difference. The ghost supply reduced to me makes sense, because disruptors now one-shot ghosts again. So I think it's makes sense to me that ghosts go back to 2 supply. But this is, it seems to me it's a bit like one day it's 3 supply, one day it's 2 supply. I mean, I think now it's going to stick to 2. That would make sense to me, but makes sense in regards to the disruptor. I think Terrans have been struggling a little bit with Zerg as of late, so we will see what goes on next. Yeah, some, of course, bug fixes like the load nearby ability, which you could have. I made a small video about it a few days ago, where Widow Mines could jump into a medevac while being burrowed, which means when the medevac would fly and something would target it, the Widow Mine would shoot. And yeah, some other quality of line change. We're gonna go right away into the changes that it does in game. All right, now we're gonna see what difference does it make when Adepts interact and Colossus also fire. So we're gonna research Glaives, of course, to maybe make it a bit more realistic, and we're gonna fight 5 Roaches with 5 Adepts. So both groups have no upgrade whatsoever, right? Which is quite realistic, except the Glaive upgrades. That's about it. But that's a normal interaction. Fuck, this is not what I wanted to say. Okay, so there's one Adept at the front. This is not perfect micro, but I'm trying to leave units in line. So you can see the Adepts are struggling a little bit, or even quite a bit. They don't have much of a chance against Roaches, which is exactly what we expect. So here, nothing surprising. 3 Roaches end up being alive, one of which is actually completely untouched. Now we're going to try again with a +1 attack. And let me tell you, you're not ready for what you're about to witness. Once again, I'm going to put both groups in a line, so to speak, to make it a bit more realistic. And now both groups will fire against each other. These Adepts have Glaives and +1 attack. And once again, Glaze gives +2 instead of +1. You might say, oh, this is not too much of a big deal. Well, look at the difference. Like, this is unmicroed Adepts, because keep in mind you have shades, you can move from one way to the other. And in the previous scenario, 3 roaches end up being alive out of 5, and now it's actually 1 Adept left. So just +1 upgrade on the Adepts makes a significant difference. Alright, now we're gonna try the Adepts against Terran. So we're gonna go for a bunch of Adepts. Like this, 16 supply of Adepts plus 1 sentry for Guardian Shield to make it realistic. A bunch of Marines, maybe a bunch of Marauders to make it a bit better. Maybe 1 Medevac, and I don't know, 2 Marines maybe to make it. Yeah, it's about the same in terms of value, same supply, so I think we should be fine. I'm gonna put both armies in line like this. Sentry behind, of course, don't want to let it die. We're gonna have a nice concave like this, some Marauders at the front, and we're gonna move on both sides like this, and I fucked up both lines. And we'll see how it works out. So once again, both armies have +1 attack. The Terran army has combat shields and Stimpack. We have Glaze and +1 attack on the Protoss side. I could reactivate Guardian Shield, but I'm just gonna let it run out like this. And you can see the Adepts, even against Marauders, they're still packing a punch. And bear with me, this is just +1. They get even more damage with extra upgrades, of course, as you can imagine. So we're gonna see what it looks like with 3-3 on both sides. I have not tried it myself. So we're gonna see what it looks like with 3-3 Adepts against 3-3 Bio. We're gonna put units in line. So, according to my calculations, it should be even worse for the Terran. So Guardian Shield, A move, Stim, A move. Let's see. Oh my god! All the damage output from the Adepts on the Marauder is actually insane. And the Adepts are really fucking good now. Ah, this is... okay, I mean... Adepts really pack a punch, my friend. Holy snap. They really, really freaking hurt. Yeah, though, so this is what I was thinking about. Like, Adepts are actually quite powerful to my estimation. We're gonna go 0-0. And we're going to try the Colossus. We're going to build 2 of them. We need, of course, thermal lance, thermal lance. A bunch of Marauders. Of course, it's a bit more expensive on the Protoss side, but it's not exactly to see if the Colossus will win, but it's more to see the damage output that now Colossus do. We're purposely going to put them in line, because in a real game, the units will be stacked. So we'll see how much damage the Colossus do, and they really freaking hurt. Like, the Colossus now actually no longer tickle Marauders, they actually deal damage, which is quite satisfying to see. And the damage against light is going to remain the same, right? So, of course, they lower the damage extra against light, but since it got compensated, but overall damage is still the same. So, we can try against roaches. I think it's going to be quite interesting to see against a bunch of roaches. Gonna get a big pack of roaches like this, and we will see how the Colossus do. Yeah, you see what I'm shooting like this in the middle? Yeah, the roach is actually taking quite a bit of damage. So in a normal game, of course, I would have more units, you would have force fields and so on. You can really see that the Colossus deals significantly more damage to roaches and marauders, which is a good news, because we actually are going to witness perhaps a bit more diversity, because in this case, you actually have a good reason to make Colossus. I mean, I was already making Colossus in this matchup, but now it's even better. And what if we get Adepts? I'm gonna try it just for fun, just a big bunch of units. Maybe a bit more Adepts, maybe 1 Guardian Shield. There's a bit more supply on the Zerg side, but a bit more quality on my side to make it realistic. We're gonna add some upgrades. Of course, we want roach speed, we want muscular augments and all kind of stuff. But I'm gonna make both armies 3-3, let's see. Because of course the upgrades are not pretty significant. So, especially on the Adept side, what upgrade do I need? I've got what I need. Espera. Wait. Oh my goodness me. I mean, this is... I'm gonna redo it because I think this Zerg army is a bit weaker. So I'm gonna add a bit more of these guys. Hold on, my friends. Take care. So this is way more Zerg supply than it is Protoss supply. But I do believe this army is better quality, so we'll see how it goes. Guardian Shield. Let's see if the Adepts are able to beat a higher amount of units. I'm not microing anything, I'm just witnessing. So it feels like the Zerg should win this this little engagement. But then again, there's way more supply for the Zerg. If I make it like even supply, I mean, this army is more expensive. It's not just about the supply, it's also about the price and the quality of both armies. But if it's literally even supply with mass Adepts like this and some Colossus, they're not even shooting. I'm gonna put them a bit closer. I think should be even better for the Protoss, isn't it? Not as much as I was anticipating, actually. I was anticipating the Adepts to do much better. So it seems like they're not doing as well against Zerg. I mean, I do believe they still transition into the later stages of the game much better than they used to before. But it doesn't seem to be as conclusive as the PvT interactions that we had. So after everything is all said and done, I still believe that the Adepts are way better than before. Colossus are also gonna gain in popularity because it seems like they're going to be quite powerful. So we'll see what it looks like. I'm going to show you what it looks like for the command center change. My RTS Dojo is a website that I've created with Elaser and Spirit, where you can find tons of different strategies, builds, and tips on how to improve for all three races, Zerg, Terran, and Protoss. If you're watching me, you're probably watching Protoss content. So here I've made, for example, how to learn new maps like a pro. And I'm gonna make soon new strategies and builds for the new patch, especially the 8-worker start. So if you wanna learn new builds and improve and get some fun in Starcraft 2, my RTS Dojo is where it's at. All right, now I wanna show you what difference it makes when you actually have a command center that's 100 minerals cheaper as opposed to what we had before. So I'm just gonna go for a Reaper Expand. I looked at Clem's and Malru's accounts to see what numbers, like what time they reached their command center. So I'm just gonna get my depot so I don't waste time. I just want to optimize as much as possible. Of course, the goal is to see how much time you gain, but basically, Clem would get his command center on 18 supply at 2 minutes and 10 seconds, or Maru would have it at 19 supply at 2 minutes and 14 seconds. These are two ways to go about things, but the thing is now, I believe that you can probably get your command center at 17 supply to make your build even smoother. Because, well, 100 minerals cheaper is quite a bit of a difference. And I think it will make this build way smoother for Terran. So I'm just gonna go for my gas. Of course, this is a Reaper Expand to make it as realistic as possible. I'm not doing the fancy worker micro where you shift click next to the mineral patch to make them mine just a bit quicker. I'm just gonna put them in the closest mineral patches and stick with that. That's good enough. I'm gonna get 2 SCVs inside the gas. This is the last SCV we're making. We're gonna turn this guy into an orbital. I'm lacking a bit of gas. Maybe I should have pulled slightly faster into it. Not the biggest deal, I don't think. I know some people cut the 13th worker to just get the thing quicker, but you see, at 156, I can get my command center. So I can get my command center 14 seconds earlier compared to what you had before, which means you're also going to get the supply faster for... you're going to get the supply faster thanks to the command center. So it's going to make the Terran builds a lot smoother. So actually 100 less minerals in the early game is a big deal. So it means that now the early Adept harassment, because of course the Adept build time has been nerfed from 30 seconds to 33 seconds. So it's gonna make attacking command centers and dealing with the SCVs or, you know, harassing in the early game way worse for Protoss and much easier to deal with as Terran. There are of course other scenarios against Zerg, but I'm not as, you know, knowledgeable in this matter. So actually it's a very big deal to me in the early game. You can also make the build smoother. Instead of getting an extra SCV at 18, you just get the CC right away and then you resume the SCV and it makes the build quite smooth in my opinion. So I think this is a interesting change to say the least, which certainly helps Terran quite a bit in the early game, and we'll see how much it develops in the later stages.